Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the grey. Today, we're going to do another wishlisting video. These have just been a ton of fun to do. Actually getting some good responses too. I love seeing people's opinions on all these things as well. And that's what this is. This is just an opinion video. It's got no real say in anything. It's just me giving some thoughts of what I personally would like to see. I really like to know what you'd like to see, so please leave some comments down below of what you would like to see in relation to this specific faction or thing that I'm talking about today, which is Skaven. For those who don't know, like, a lot of people seem to think I'm a big elf person. I have my Scourge Privateers and my Stormcast, and all my Cities of Sigmar stuff is all very elf dominant, and that's all well known, I guess, for the people who've been watching the channel for a long time, that I love Scourge Privateers and stuff. But for those who might not know, Skaven was actually my very first army. So when I started Warhammer, I got Wood Elves as my first models. I got some of the old Metal Dryads. If you remember, those are less than sightly sculpts, we'll go with that. They were my first models. However, back when I started, Wood Elves weren't an army, so Skaven were the army that I actually started with. I then got into Skaven because they had an army book out at the time. And Skaven were my first army. I played and collected Skaven for a long, long time and didn't actually have another army until Wood Elves came out in their 2006 release. So I think this was about 6 years of playing Skaven before I even had another army. Skaven were like, I just loved everything about them. I loved the whole like conniving, backstabbing nature of them, and the whole I'm going to be the boss and everyone thinks they can rise to the top, when most really can't. But Skaven just... something about them was just so cool and quirky, and especially the Rattling Gun. I'll say without a doubt my favourite model, and the model that probably sold me on Skaven more than anything, was a Rattling Gun. It's just such a cool idea and a fantasy concept to have a Rattling Gun as a thing. But anyway, enough of me rambling on. I really love Skaven, so this is 10 things I'd like to see from Skaven. Number 1, new Clanician sculpts and upgrade the Clanician range. The Night Runners are the only, I guess, plastic monkey rats we have left. They look like monkeys. They got these giant arms and all that. And obviously, I think the Assassin model is fine. It's the Deathmaster Snitch model, and that's fine. Maybe a plastic variation might be better, but that model is fine, we'll say, for this. Gutter Runners also need an upgrade. So I don't know whether we get a new dual kit that's both Night Runner and Gutter Runner into one, and upgrade both those units. But I think Ishan is a really good point, and just needs, like, it's such an interesting mechanic, especially with how we've had this clan Slink in the narrative as a major plot point, and they are an Ishan Thrall clan. I think we need to see some Rat Ninja love. Point 2, we're going into another Skaven clan that I think is one of the two that are probably less loved than the other, and that is new Rat Ogres and Giant Rats for Moulder. The Hell Pit Abomination kit is fantastic, and I don't want to see it touched. But the Rat Ogres that are the actual plastic kit and not the Island of Blood ones that most people actually see and are unfortunately discontinued. But I think new Rat Ogres and new Giant Rats, and probably make the Giant Rats bigger. Like, I'm thinking new Giant Rats are probably like Gryph-hound size, and, you know, put them on a 40mm base and make them decent. So probably more akin to Wolf Rats, and make Rat Ogres that a little bit more hulking. Maybe not quite as big as Stormfiend, but definitely like somewhere between where they currently are and a Stormfiend is, I think, is the right way to go for Rat Ogres. And make them more monstrous, you know, give them 4 arms and give them all weird and wacky things. And I definitely think they're a kit as well that is in dire need of an update, and I personally love Rat Ogres. I love the idea of Rat Ogres. The Stormfiends on the top of that are really cool, but I think once you strip back all the mechanical parts, like Rat Ogres themselves are really cool, and I'd like to see them more on the table. And so I think Rat Ogres and Giant Rats need an upgrade. This sort of ties in as well to my third point, which is I'd like to see a new Moulder Beast. So we've got the Hell Pit, and we've got the Giant Rats and Rat Ogres. So we've got like small, medium, large. What about gigantic? Where is this ginormous, that's not even a word, ginormous model for Moulder? Something massive, like a rat dragon, or I don't know, something like that. Like a rat dragon would be cool. Imagine like a giant rat dragon. And I just want to see that next monster up for Skaven. I think that's where Moulder goes next. Is, well, we've got all these massive monsters in Age of Sigmar, And Hell Pit used to be really big, but it's not quite so anymore. So maybe we go even bigger than that, and we go huge, and we go Rat Dragon. Number 4. What's next for the Skaven? How do they plan to capitalise on the sabotage at the Necroquake? So as mentioned before, Clan Slink is the major reason why Nagash's Necroquake did not go off. We've got little hints and stuff of where they're going, but I think we need to further that storyline of how the Skaven are planning to capitalise and what their next stage of their plan is to go on and conquer the mortal realms. Skaven are always planning total domination. That is their end goal, that is their end game, and they really believe they can do it. So I want to see where we go next with the Skaven after they've conquered the Necroquake. We've got their endless spells, and like whether this is rules wise or something, like they can have something to do with endless spells, and maybe they trap them, or maybe they corrupt endless spells and stuff like that. But I think that's the next stage of where we need to see Skaven. We need to know what is their what is their end game for complete and utter domination of the realms. How are they going to achieve this, and why? Like, we know why, really, but how, and what's the even terrible plan they have for doing this? Because they're not always great plans for the Skaven, but they always do have a plan for world domination, in this case, realm-wide domination. Number 5, I'd like to see a new clan enter the fold. So we've had these 4 great clans for a while now, which is Ishin, Shrai, Moulder, and Pestilence. They've always been the predominant 4 clans, obviously led by the Master Clan, who are the Grey Seers. But these 4 clans have always been the major focal point. And we've had others becoming to rival them in power, like in fantasy we had Clan Moors, obviously led by Warlord Creek Headtaker. And we've had other clans up there that have been quite successful as well, and other prominent clans. So Clan Mordkin, who are the ones who eat the dead, Clan Verms, who were sort of the monster makers before Moulder came along, and other ones and like that. There's one of these, though, that I think really has a place in being something new and different. And this will sort of tie into my point 6 as well, in that I think Clan Scurvy is the way to go for the next Skaven clan, to bring out a new clan to flesh out. I think Skaven Pirates, if you combine this with a bit of Shrai mechanical, and this is my 7 point, I want to see more Clan Shrai, or Clan Sky, however you pronounce it, Sky, Shrai, words are words, you know what I'm talking about. I want to see like airships, Skaven corrupted airships, because I think that is a really cool way. I want to see Skaven machinery, and I want to see a new clan added to the fold. So maybe Shrai helping build up Scurvy a little bit and giving them some influence. This will tie into my next point as well. And like using this other clan that's sort of powerful, but bringing another clan into their fold and building them up, I think is a really cool way to bring some extra narrative into the Skaven and give us something really cool. Because like Caradron Overlord airships are just amazing. I have a KO army as well. I mean, I have most armies, but KO are just so cool with the airships and stuff. And I think Skaven airships, I've seen some conversions of stuff with Skaven airships, but I think we could really have something cool on our hands to get Skaven airships. Anyway, this brings into my point 7 as well. So I mentioned Shrai bringing someone into their fold. So for those who don't know, Clan Pestilence has always sort of been at odds with the other major clans. They've always sort of rivaled the other clans in like almost a 3-on-1. So it's always been Pestilence versus the other 3. In Warhammer Fantasy, Pestilence went across to Lustria, gained a lot of power and a lot of influence, came back, and pretty much almost single-handedly took over Skavendom by themselves. If it wasn't for Moulder and Shrai and Ishin all working together along with various warlord clans, Pestilence would be the undisputed number 1 power in the Skaven Empire. And potentially, knowing what they know, we know now how they worship Nurgle and not the Horned Rat. The Horned Rat may not be a god that would be worshipped in Skavendom anymore. So I want to see them play on this. I want to see Pestilence rise to power again and tackle these other clans and see the lines in the Skaven drawn, because the Skaven Civil War is just such an interesting thing to me. It's part of why I fell in love with them, is that the whole, like, it's one of those armies, you always had this thing where Stormcast versus Stormcast is hard to play. Even playing, like, you even found, like, narrative hard to fight in, like, some of the more dangerous armies, like, I don't know, ogres versus ogres. It's like the whole armies wouldn't fight. You just have the two tyrants fight. So why does the whole army fight? I always found it's the least substantial narrative of having an army fight itself. Skaven, on the other hand, just works so well. Oh, excuse me, big yawn there. Sorry about that. Skaven works so well fighting each other, and I really want to see the Skaven Civil War just come to life and have this fight between the clans. And so that's probably my point 7, is I want to see the civil war between Skaven and Pestilence rise to power again and fighting the other clans, and see this big civil war. Number 8. One of my favourite Warhammer Fantasy characters was Gracie Thanquol. He is such a well-designed character, I think, and like one of the most perfect villains ever. And he just counteracts Gotrek so well, obviously. With Gotrek being back in the Mortal Realms, I think Thanquol's place in the Mortal Realms is now cemented so well that we now need to start giving him the story and like fleshing out. He knows that Gotrek's back and he wants to destroy Gotrek. Boy, does he hate Gotrek. And so it's with this, I want to see where Thanquol is going. I want to know what his plans are. I want to know how he wants to get back at Gotrek, most of all. But I think this is an interesting, like, he's an interesting character and has a lot of potential there to sort of further the narrative. He is effectively the figurehead of Skaven, and we've got all these other major figureheads, because as much as Skaven are a part of Chaos Grand Alliance, they don't fall under Archaon, and Thanquol isn't very, Archaon is not very fond of Thanquol, let's put it that way. So I think that's an interesting way to go. We need a Skaven figurehead, and Thanquol can be the guy to lead Skavendom forward. That brings me to point 9, which is, and we sort of touched on it, like how Pestilence worship other Nurgle, a different chaos god. I think Skaven is such, betrayal is such a part of their personality. I think there's a lot of potential for Skaven to be worshipping other chaos gods. And maybe somehow, like we've seen with the Beastmen battalions, how they give a keyword out, we could see maybe some Khorne worshipping Skaven, or some Slaanesh worshipping Skaven, or some Tzeentch worshipping Skaven. Some of those are a big mouthful to say. I probably slurred a few of them. But I think there's a lot of potential there in like Skaven worshipping other gods. It'd be interesting to see how you can influence it. I'm not entirely sure myself how I would influence it. It's just a thought of mine that could be cool. But lastly, number 10. I mentioned a rat dragon before. I want them to bring back warlord mounts. So back in Warhammer Fantasy, they could ride on the pox rats, they could ride on these giant rat ogre beasts, and I think that was it. Oh, and they had the palanquin carried by the 4 storm vermin. So I think with Skaven, I'd like to see some warlord mounts come back, and it would give us an option for some really cool beastly units. I mean, you could have a Skaven Warlord on Rat Dragon, or a Skaven Warlord on like the Rat Ogre again, or on a Palanquin, or on a Pox Rat, or well, maybe that might be a giant rat now. But I think this has a lot of potential to give us a cool new direction for Skaven characters, because all Skaven characters are quite small. You're either a small character on a bell, you're either the 2 guys on the bell, or Plague Furnace, or the Verminlords. So I think this would give combat characters the ability to be useful outside of being either non-Verminlord and Verminlords. But that's it for me. That's 10 things I'd like to see with Skaven, and then sort of wish listing things. I'd like to know what you think about the Skaven, what you would like to see, and leave some comments down below of what you would like to see for Skaven. Be quite interested to see what other people think. Anyway, that's enough from me. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're closing in on that 1,000 subscribers very fast, which is amazing. Thank you to all the patrons who support the channel. I can't wait to be able to repay you all and get the battle reports up when we can get back to making battle reports and improving upon them. And most of all, don't forget to stay safe, stay well, and keep fighting that war against the Grey. See you all later.